Hello and welcome back to another Star Wars Legion video. Today I'm going to be ranking, in my opinion, the Rebel commanders for the Rebel faction of Star Wars Legion. We're just going to crack right into it. I do have, it looks like on here, some of the commanders that you can only find in the Bright Tree Village with whoever set up this tier list. Put them on here, which is a battle force, in case you're not aware. So you're only allowed to take Logray and C-3PO, and that you can't take them in your standard Rebel army, but you can take them in the Bright Tree Village battle force if you want. So we'll start off with those. And honestly, I'm putting them both up in A just because of theming. I like them just for that, so that's where they're going. Both of them at the same time. I think they're both very thematic and very just fun to play with. I'm actually going to move them down into B just so that when we talk about actual power level, I think that's where they stand. If you're taking Bright Tree Village, I think they're okay. I probably wouldn't take Logray. And honestly, most of my knowledge of the battle force comes from old rules, so I don't know how they play too well with the new stuff, new rules wise. So I think B is probably a pretty okay spot for them. Maybe even C, honestly. Yeah, let's move down to C. C is probably a better spot for them overall. So yeah. Theming wise, though, I think they're fantastic. I think C-3PO is a little bit better than Logray. In my opinion, back in old rules again, though. So new rules, maybe they're a little bit not as powerful. I could see that happening. I don't play Rebels that often. My buddy plays Rebels a lot, and that's like fighting, and we're going to get into fighting against a lot of these commanders versus more of playing them. And I gotta say, kind of annoying, but not too annoying. So into an actual commander that you can take in your Rebel force if you're just making a standard Rebel army. It looks like Cassian's on here too, even though he's an operative. He has field commander, I guess, so they put him on this list. So I guess we'll start off with him, even though he is an operative. You could take him as your solo commander. Where do I want to put him? I have played it against him once with new rules, with his new rules, and I've got to say, I don't know how to feel about him. I don't think he did too much. I think Jyn did a lot more, but she's obviously not on this list. I think I'm gonna put him in B. I don't know if he's kind of worth the point value, and especially when it comes to Rebels, I think they have a lot of good commanders, and I think you're going to see that when it comes down to it overall. So I think I'm going to put him B just because of how I'm going to rank some of the other commanders. I don't think he's quite as good as some of the other ones. I can kind of explain my reasoning why in a bit. I am on the fence about him, though. I think he might have more damage potential, and no, we're gonna keep him there because I think if you run certain lists, he can work, but he's not great by himself. Like, I think he's lackluster overall for what I want him to do, but or what mostly people play against me want him to do, I guess. I don't think he's worth it as much. Onto Han Solo. I gotta say, the way my buddy plays him, I think I'm gonna put him in A. He takes Han Solo, maybe not a lot, but he has taken him quite a few times, and I'm always surprised by how much he does. He doesn't have a lot of dice. I think he has 3 red, if I'm not mistaken. I can't really read it on his card there. And his command cards are pretty nice. I will say, I think his 2-pip is kind of bad. I have not seen that one go off too well. That's the one that if he gives himself an order and he gives another trooper an order, and if they if someone attacks a unit and they're in range of one of the two troopers with the face-up order, they have to attack the people with the face-up order token. And which one of those people is Han? And Han has white defense dice, so unless you're taking Chewie, which is extra points, which the Rebels can't afford, it's really not that great of a command card. So if you're taking multiple heroes, which in the Rebels you kind of do, unless you're going for activation spam. But yeah, I don't see playing his 2-pick beam that great. And maybe that's just because I haven't seen it land very well. I just don't think it's great because he makes himself a target. And unless you have someone to guardian or backup, I guess backup would work fine. So maybe if you play it like first turn, that wouldn't work because they're off the board. Second turn, maybe, where they're a little bit further back and not quite in that range 2 death zone yet. It could work fine. I think his 0 pip is pretty good, and his 3 pip's pretty alright overall. So I'm going to put him in A just because of his potential. And since he has steady, he can move in and out of cover or line of sight really well because he can move, shoot, and then move back, kind of like what he does in the movies. And honestly, theming wise too, I think he's an A overall. But that is my general thoughts on him. Other than that, he's all right. He's not very tanky. He has 6 health, white defense. He has low profile. Uncanny luck 3, so you get to re-roll those 3 of those white dice if you miss. But they're not. He dies pretty fast, I think, whenever I am playing. And so I think he's just an A rather than an S. Moving on to a surprise with the new rules, which is Lando. I think Lando is an S. And I think Lando's an S now because of one step ahead. I think that keyword allowing you to move units across the board faster is just nice. He has guidance trooper unit, core trooper unit, I believe, which is just a fun keyword too. He's a very good. I think the Rebels have the best supportive commanders in the game, and I could be wrong about that overall, because like Commander Cody and Rex are both pretty good support commanders for Gar. I haven't really thought about the other two. Kalani might top him, but I think T-Series maybe too. But moving on, sorry to get sidetracked there. I really think that keyword alone with that little pip game that you do is just really good. And if you combine them with like the operative Jin, your people are moving quite a lot on the Rebel side, and it is pretty dangerous overall, especially with like sleeper cells and other things that can just you want within a closer range, and so you want to close that distance fast. I think the Rebels really excel at getting your people across the board pretty much as fast as possible. But yeah, that's pretty much why I would put Lando there. It's just for that one keyword. A few other things like I think his damage potential is probably less than Han's, but you don't really need it from him, and it's nice. Plus, he has allies of convenience, so if you want to take like a extra mercenary or command a mercenary, you can. And I think that's just great. But yeah, I honestly think he is an S tier commander, and maybe even the best, and best commander overall for Rebels. I think his only contention is Leia, which is up next, and Leia is just a really, really good support commander as well. Great token generator. We're gonna put Wicket up here too, because really they go hand in hand right now. Especially every time that I play my buddy now, he has Leia and Wicket as a team, and he plays their teamwork card. I think I played him like 3 times with his rebels, and this token generator here is just gross. Place their teamwork card first turn so that they have permanent teamwork for the rest of the game, and then killing either one of them is just hard because they have like 1,000 tokens, and then if you surround her with the units that you don't want dying on the field, and it's just really hard to tank through all of those dodges that they just generate. Very great generating. I'm actually gonna move Wicket down to A just because like him by himself is not very good, and if I'm judging these solo, honestly him by himself is probably B, probably C, honestly. Like I don't rate him very highly if you were just to take Wicket, but if you're taking Leia, you might as well take Wicket unless you want to take Lando, because Leia can work by herself as an S tier. If she's by herself, I think she's worse than Lando. If she's not by herself and with Wicket, I think they are better as a pair than her and Lando, maybe. I think you can play around a lot with those 3 commanders there. Sad to say, Luke, Commander Luke, I think is honestly probably there. Maybe there. We're going to put him up in A. Give him the benefit. I think he has a purpose. I think he's good. I think he's above Han, actually, overall. Him losing 2 of the really good Luke command cards, or fun, one of them I think is just fun. I don't know. I don't think it's landed very well. It's his 1 pip that allows you to take control of someone who is suppressed, I believe. But yeah, I have never seen that land, but it's a really fun card. But his other one that basically locks down him and 2 other troopers from fighting, I've seen that land, and it's hurt. It's lost me games because my buddies played it on some of my high hitters, and then they just die, or they just don't do anything for a turn, and it's just really, really rough. And if you have a counterplay around that, please let me know, because like I would love to figure out how to stop that 3-pip whenever he takes Luke. Now only in operative form, but whenever he takes Luke, he normally takes that card if he can, and it's just a nightmare on a turn. One game I got Count Dooku hit and Asajj hit, so neither of them could attack, and so they just messing around, doing nothing. It just really destroyed my Sys game that game, and it just was awful. Probably one of the worst games I've ever played. This video is probably going to be a little shorter since I mostly just play against these commanders and don't run a lot of them. I've ran some of them, but I digress. We're going to move on to the final commander after I really do think these 2 are top. And as rebels, you're taking a lot of heroes. So like movement is really good for some of your heroes like Luke or even Jyn, but she has independent move now. Bad Batch, I think the Bad Batch are a top tier objective playing unit. I think they're honestly the best objective playing unit in the game when they're in the Rebels, and that is just because you take Omega, but they're also very point intense. So like I think in the current competitive meta, they're probably not seen that much. But I don't know. I don't play competitively. I can see them not being played, but at the same time, maybe they are meta. I know basically nothing about competitive, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. But I could see them maybe having a spot there. Again, talking about operatives, let's move on to the Pyke Syndicate Capo. And honestly, I'm gonna put him in B tier for this one. And I think there's a list that I want to run that I haven't ran yet, but I've been theory crafting it, and it has Lando and it has Pyke Syndicate Capo in it, and it's a mercenary rebel list with Pykes, obviously. And I kind of want to try it out. um, with the bus, but I haven't had a chance to. And honestly, I think he can be B tier in the Rebels. Um, Maybe putting him above Wicket is a little bit insane, but I think he can be pretty good if you're running him with some pikes, especially with Lando in it. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. I kind of want to run that list. Once I do, maybe I'll make a video on it about what the list is. If it goes well, if it doesn't, you'll just never see it. But I think I'm gonna put him in B for now, just because I think he does have potential in the Rebels, and it's just because in the Rebels. So my thinking behind this versus the Gar one, where I put him in D tier, I think the Gar synergize really well when you're using clone troopers and um, Gar faction specific things like Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff like that. And the Gar are very point heavy, so like all of their units are really expensive. So while the pikes are cheaper, I can't justify taking them when I can just take more clones to make my clones better, even if it's just like a basic clone squad. Giving them an extra surge token on the board that they can share is just better versus the Rebels, which don't do a token sharing, and they do synergize a little bit with each other, but and obviously they have to, they're a faction, but like I think you have more room to play with the mercenaries in Rebels than you do Gar, and that's just my thinking on it. Again, competitively, maybe Pikes are really strong in Gar, and I just don't know it. I will say I do want to get into tournaments and competitive play a little bit and see what. So I've been trying to do research on who like talks about competitive on YouTube, and I haven't really found one. There's one guy that I really like, and I'm going to talk about another Legion content creator who's way more popular than me, but that's good. I do this for fun anyways. Legion Cantina, I think is what it is, and I really like his videos, and he has done some ranking videos on the Rebels, and he's a Rebel player mostly, I feel like, is what he said, and his videos are really good. So if you haven't seen them, but like check those out. But I've been watching his to try to get some glimpses of competitive play out, to see like what to do for competitive play. So I'm going to continue to watch those, and maybe I'll update you guys in the future. And I rambled on a lot in this video, and I apologize, but that is my tier list of the current Rebel commanders. Take it or leave it. It is for my casual play more than competitive, so it's whatever you want to take it out to be. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, you can leave a like and a comment, or just leave a comment and a like if you want. Does not matter. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.